SpotlightMediaStudios.com. Welcome to Education Unfiltered. Here is Mary Stucco.
Hello, this is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered, where we talk all things higher ed and everything that goes with it. And today I am joined by Cindy Whittum, who is the Senior Career Coach at Davenport University, and Rebecca Sowa, who is the Career and Employment Services with Lansing Community College. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
How are you guys doing today? Good. Good. So you guys are hosting both Davenport University and Lansing Community College, along with Capital Area Michigan Works. It's focused on helping people navigate starting or finishing their degree. So what event are you guys working on?
Well, we have a Recalculating Your Career Path event that's coming up. And Becca and I had a conversation, a month ago? About a month ago, about helping individuals to understand what the process looks like to come back to school. We know there are people in the community that it's in the back of their mind. With the pandemic, it scared people thinking I either need to finish my degree or get a degree. So we came up with this idea of creating an event where people can come to it, non-intimidating, no pressure. Find out, is financial aid important to them? Talk to financial aid from either LCC or from Davenport. What resources are available through Michigan Works to pay for schooling? What does my career look like, as there will be an assessment that everyone can take that Becca and I will talk to people about. What does that assessment look like and what career field would be good for you? So it's a great event for people who have maybe just been sitting back thinking, I really need to do something, but I'm scared. And they can come, open house type event, and it'll be wonderful. And it's virtual.
That's wonderful. So now, can you tell us what day this event's going to be?
It's going to be August 4th, and we're going to run 2 sessions, one from 9 to 12 and one from 4 to 7 in the evening. So individuals that are working or can't fit it in during the day, they can do an evening session as well.
Very good. And anyone listening to this podcast, there will also be a link taking you directly to that. So you can make sure that you check that out as well. Talk a little bit about that, a self-directed personality skills match. What are you looking for? How do you do that?
It is an assessment called Pathway U, which Davenport uses with our students. And actually, Becca did take the assessment. She took the assessment.
Are you in the right job, Becca?
I am, yeah.
Isn't it funny how that works?
Good.
It is.
Glad it worked. But what it does is it addresses personality types and how your personality fits with a career field, and it will match you up to different types of career fields. It is proven that if you're happy with what you're doing, you will naturally progress through that career. People can do anything for a certain period of time, but if you're not happy, if you wake up in the morning and go, ugh, I don't want to go to work, it's not the right fit for you. And that's what this Pathway U assessment. So that's going to be the first step of this event. They register, they immediately get the link to the Pathway U assessment. They can take that assessment, and we're going to talk to them about that at the event.
That's really exciting. So they'll do everything online. They don't have to be face-to-face for anything. So they can work it around their work schedule or existing work schedule.
Absolutely.
How do people pay for college? What are options for people who are just like, I want to get started, I don't think I can afford it. How do I start this?
Yeah, and I know LCC's financial aid office, as well as our student engagement coordinators, will be available during the event, as well as Davenport staff. There's a lot of resources right now. Obviously, there's the traditional, you fill out your FAFSA, there's Pell Grants, loans, that type of thing. But we're also in a kind of a unique position where there's the Michigan Reconnect program, the Future for Frontliners program that has allowed for additional funding for people in the state to take advantage of. And if they haven't completed that degree before, there's now some money and some incentive to go back and complete that degree with those funding options. And then obviously there's, other avenues that our financial aid office can talk to you about, to make sure that you're in a position to complete your education affordably.
That's really exciting. There's a lot of different types of degrees people can go into. There's a lot of certifications. So when you're going back to school, you don't necessarily say, I'm going to commit to 4 years. In the next 4 years, I got to get this done. So talk about some different options people have.
Well, one of the reasons why we're doing this in partnership with LCC, with Michigan Works, and with Davenport is I know that a 4-year degree is not for everyone. So that's why it was really important that when Becca and I talked that we wanted to collaborate with this. Because you don't have to get a 4-year degree to be successful. You absolutely don't. There are so many needs out there for skilled trades, for even just associate degree level. So we wanted to make sure that once somebody took an assessment, it wasn't that you only could speak to Davenport University or you could only speak to LCC. We want to make sure that people are coming into this really with a clear understanding of what are all of my options. What are all of my options? But the most important thing is really developing a strong workforce in the Lansing community. That's sort of our overarching goal with this, is to make sure that we have people that understand what their options are, how to get back to school, how to pay for it, what does it look like, what does it feel like, but do it in an environment where they're not feeling pressured to sign on the dotted line right then and there if they don't want to. We would love to have people decide to come to school. From the event, but it's really about informing the community and strengthening the workforce in the Lansing community.
And I think that's one of the great things about this event specifically when we offer that assessment prior to, because there are so many certificate and degree programs at LCC and Davenport that once you take it and you start kind of exploring, there's probably careers that you've never heard of, that there's a demand for, or a certificate program that you didn't know LCC offered, or a degree program that transferred to to Davenport. There's a lot of opportunity, and I think it's opening doors for people to explore those options that are available to them.
That's wonderful. So there's going to be an information session focused on helping members of the greater Lansing community understand their education options in a virtual open house format. And that's what you were talking a little bit about. So tell me a little bit more about, are there going to be instructors available for people to talk to, or how are you working that?
It's going to depend on really who wants to be engaged as far as from the institutional level. We definitely are going to have advisors. We definitely are going to have admissions. Financial aid is a huge piece of this. And then as well as Michigan Works too, because Michigan Works has some funding available too. So even if we don't have people available at that particular time, we will be able to get them connected to the right people. My goal is to have faculty there, have faculty available to discuss the programs, but it's really about people, I guess, taking the fear out of that next step.
Yeah, just getting started.
Just getting started, because I know from personal experience, it takes courage to walk through the doors or to reach out to somebody to finish your degree or start a degree. And we're just trying to take that I guess, fear out of the process.
So those who are coming back to school or coming out of high school, whatever their situation is, and they want to talk to financial aid, because obviously that's one of the big ones. It's like, how much do I have to pay? How much do I have to come up with? Or is it going to be free? What kind of information should they have available to share with the financial aid people?
I don't think you need to come with your parents' W-2s or your W-2s. It's really just an information gathering. So
Gotcha.
When it's time, you're prepared to fill out that FAFSA or take that next step and kind of have that more individualized conversation with either staff. So I don't think you have to have all your documentation. Don't worry about that. I don't want, that shouldn't be a barrier to attending. It can simply be, I'm thinking about this. What's my next step? How do I approach this, so that they do have that confidence to come, and take the next step into their education. So I wouldn't worry about not having your tax statements
Gotcha.
in hand for
Right.
that day. We can definitely help you without those. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And sort of how the process is going to work is they will take the assessment ahead of time, because we think that's really important that they take this assessment. And they will be given a link to come into a main room where more than likely Becca and I and probably a representative of Capital Area Michigan Works will be there. And we will be there to sort of talk to them. What do you want to do next? What are you scared about? Who do you want to talk to? And then they'll be given a link to go to another room with whomever they decide they want to talk to. If they are a stronger fit for LCC, then we will focus on the LCC staff for them to work for. If there's somebody who already has their associate's degree or is really in a role or trying to get a role that requires a bachelor's level, we'll direct them to Davenport staff. But this is, we're a partnership with LCC. This is not a competition between Davenport and LCC. I hope we see a lot of people enroll in both institutions or at least get their questions answered. But if not, we've informed people. And then when they finally decide they want to do that, they will have the information and the tools they need to be able to do it and be successful, hopefully.
That's excellent. Do you think at any point something like this might turn into more face-to-face that they'll get to, or just maybe that's the next step after that as they start to have that face-to-face contact?
Right. And it could. I mean, especially if somebody really walks away from this event going, okay, now I'm not terrified. And now I can actually go in and have a conversation because I feel I'm a little bit more informed. We would encourage them to set an appointment with somebody at LCC or Davenport, whoever they decide. Or if there's somebody who's just starting the process, Michigan Works. Go to Michigan Works and maybe work with some of their workshops and some of their case managers over there to help them get to that step where they're ready to go to school.
Now, when do fall semesters, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, when do fall semesters start for both schools?
I believe we start August, what is it,
19th?
Yeah, 19th, 20th, yeah.
And we start after Labor Day. So I think Labor Day is the 6th. We start the 7th.
Okay, so people have a couple months to still kind of get prepared and get going. And how far out do people need to actually register at your schools in order to... Is it a pretty quick turnaround?
It is a very quick turnaround. If people have everything done, they have their FAFSA done. We've had students that have enrolled the week that classes start and they can start. So don't feel that if you aren't ready to go or you don't have everything done or you haven't made that move, by the time end of August or September rolls around, don't just sit back and go, oh, now I have to wait till next semester. That's not how it works.
Right. And that's one thing people think ahead, but no, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. It doesn't need to be. You have plenty of time to look at options. What are some other pieces of advice that you might have from both of you as people going back to school, especially those going back to school, because it's definitely a change of mindset, and it can be a little scary if you've been out for a while. What are some words of wisdom as approaching this process?
I think it's just taking that first step, and kind of the great thing about this particular event being virtual is it takes a little bit of that intimidation out of, where do I park at downtown, or
where do they park at downtown?
Right? The ramp is under construction. So where do I park when I go to LCC? Where is the Davenport campus? And I think sometimes that can be the biggest barrier, whereas you can just log on. We have a morning and an evening session. So I think it's just taking that first step and start asking questions. If this is a goal or can help advance you in any way in your life, talk about it. There's no money down. There's no commitment. Just come talk to us and see, how we can help you reach your goals ultimately. I think that's the biggest thing, is just taking that first step and seeing how we can, help you get where you want to be.
And that is so true. That's what we wanted this event to be. And that was something when we had the conversation, we didn't want it to be a just solely admissions driven event, because people have come at it from different directions and enter the process with different needs and different questions. That's why this event is structured the way it is. That's why it's so important that we're there just to answer questions. We just want to answer questions. We want to give you some direction. We want to give you some support, and we want to take the fear out of thinking about or taking that next step to go back to school.
Very exciting. Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Other than I want you to give me all your information on how they reach you.
Yeah, you can reach me. My name is Cindy Whittum. I'm with Davenport University, but I'm available even if you're not a Davenport student. Please reach out. My email address is cwhittum@davenport.edu. Please reach out.
Yep, and I'm Becca Sowa with the Career Services Office at LCC, and my email is stierr@lcc.edu.
And can you give us the link to where they might connect? Do you have that memorized or not?
You know what? I don't.
Okay, that's okay, because it's going to be included in this podcast, so they have it.
It will.
And what day is it again?
August 4th, and it's from 9 to noon or 4 to 7.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered, and we had Cindy Whittum from Davenport University, Becca Sowa from Lansing Community College, and thank you so much to Davenport University for sponsoring this podcast.
Thank you.